What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Season 3 is officially settled in, which means it's time to rank every single hero within Marvel Rivals once again. Not once, but twice. Low and high elo. And let's just say, Season 3, everything's fine. Ignore that, right? Hit scan hell? Never heard of it. Wakanda Nightmare, K-pop paralysis demons, Mother's choking everybody again. And let's go to just check on Twitter.
I can't kill him there!
Phoenix moment.
What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing with this game?
Damn it, they're just beaming with happiness. So it's the perfect time now to rank all the heroes within the game. We're going to look at past rankings, explain all the picks after my own time sinking in endless hours into the game, and talking to the pros and a bunch of other data collected together. So let's go and jump on in. If you haven't subscribed, do so. Yeah, you right there. 80% have not who watch the channel. Okay, let's go. All right, guys, as always, we're going to start with Adam Warlock. And listen, Adam has been a hero in Rivals that has been tough to rank throughout the seasons, right? Especially for high elo. Now, low elo, very easy decision. Typically, I've been stuck on one decision, and that's he's extremely tough to manage his cooldowns. His aim is very skill reliant, and because of that and all the other strategists in the game, he's going to be F tier for low elo. I just think he's one of the worst ones to play out of the group. No matter how high his skill ceiling is, it's just tough to achieve that in lower rank play. But in high elo, what makes this decision difficult is in the triple res comp, and with Mantis getting buffs and Star-Lord being who he is, obviously that team up is very good, and we see the pros play it. It's successful in competitive ladder. But once you start to deviate from that, his reliability and really overall just viability is going to go down massively. And so I don't love Adam right now, and I feel like they almost should separate him from that passive. You know, we've seen team-ups come and go. That one has stayed around. Maybe after the mid-season final in China, they get rid of that once and for all, and let there be some more individuality of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I get it, you know, they're the Guardians, but I feel like they could do more as individual heroes and not be reliant on one kind of team up that keeps them all really good, but also gated. With all that being said, I can't put him too high because he's gated by that, but I can't put him too low. I've got him in B tier for high elo. All right, guys, next up, the T'Challa Terror, you know, Wakanda Nightmare, Black Panther, okay? And we've had him go up and down between the tier lists, and he was known as the Tickle Monster for quite some time, and my God, Cozy, you dumbass, if you look at last tier list, because he really climbed up in overall his efficiency. And sometimes it only takes one person or just a scene, a moment for everybody to kind of click and realize that Black Panther is good. And one of the reasons why he's jumped up so much is that they finally fixed the bugs that were going on with his dash reset that took forever, I think a couple seasons to get done. And his carry potential is so high. Now, obviously, just like Adam Warlock, this is a high elo thing. I think in low elo, it's just there's not enough team coordination and or individual play that you can do to carry. There's other DPS that do that job better. You know, they're going to be heroes today that we talk about. Magik, Spider-Man, Black Panther, bam, boom. Those are Smurf heroes. You can put them at S tier if you're playing in a rank you're not supposed to. But if you are in low elo, truly grinding the grit, right? I think he's a D tier hero. Unfortunately, he's not that good in low elo. High elo, though, I've got him in A tier this time. You know, he's one of the more terrorizing DPS for backlines. People just still, even though you know how to deal with them, you can't, right? We saw at the top level of scene and play, the teams that are going to the finals at Ignite, they had to ban this hero against a team called Ego Death. Even though they knew he was going to play him, you could set up, you could prep for it, but you still couldn't do anything to stop him. He was him. And as far as I'm concerned, Black Panther just is elite right now as well. All right, moving on. We go to Black Widow, guys. I always joke around the beginning of these tier lists. They're all kind of doom and gloom a bit. And sadly, we've got two F tiers just bam, right out the chamber. I've got Black Widow in F tier for low elo, and I've got her in D tier for high. One of those case scenarios that I want to say right away, if you main any hero in this game and you put all your time and you just absolutely know the ins and outs of that hero, you can play at any rank, any elo to probably a pretty good success. We've seen that across all the heroes and the ranks. But on average, looking at the duelists and who you can pick and what you can get out of them and what they offer to the game, Black Widow just isn't it. She's a terror to melee heroes, but besides that, there's just better heroes to pick in almost every single match. And so, obviously, low elo, you gotta aim well, and that's what she is. She's an aim-skilled hero. You don't have that in low-rank play. And in high-rank play, she's either countered pretty heavily or just not seen in the scene enough. Seen in the scene? Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. Either way, guys, Black Widow, I've got her in this kind of niche tier, right? Just outside of her small uses, not used that much. All right, next up, guys, let's move on to Captain America. And, you know, I played him a ton in the past couple of seasons. And Steve Rogers, one of those heroes that kind of gone up and down throughout the seasons in terms of what he can offer, mainly because they adjust the hell out of his survivability time and time again. However, it's kind of been proven he's still a very good hero within this game. Very strong at just keeping the point alive and having great, you know, dive capabilities at high elo. You can combine him with like someone like a Psylocke, even Black Panther, and they're able to just completely terrorize a backline, even if they're prepped for him coming. And then you also have this stall ability from him. His ultimate is almost like another strategist ultimate. And so he has so much to offer in the high elo gameplay. And then in low elo, he is also just a complete terror as well. Very hard to deal with him. His damage is not all that good, but you're able to use it because people just don't know how to burst you down. If you know where the health packs are, just go grab another one and go right back into the action if you need to. Or if you have like competent healers, but we know that's tough to find these days in the lower ranks. But yeah, I think I've got him in B tier for both. He's probably edging A tier for high elo, and probably edging not C tier for low, but he's low B tier for low elo, just because of really his whole kind of play loop and gameplay in low elo is a lot different. But yeah, I like Captain America. He's still a very solid hero. All right, next up, guys, Bruce Banner. All right, moving on to the Hulk here. And the Hulk is just one of those heroes that he's either been known for his team-up identity or just his elite level of skill ceiling play that you see at the highest level. And because of that, I've got him very opposite in each elo. I think in low elo, if you look at the win rates and if you look across the board, he's honestly, I think he's the worst Vanguard in the game in low elo. You just don't get what makes him so good in low level play. So I've got him in D tier for that. He's just outside of his team up. He's just a body for others to, you know, charge up ult on. Maybe your strategists can get more ult for themselves. But other than that, just not a good option. But in high elo, I think he's one of the strongest characters in this game. I've got him in A tier. He's kind of borderline. He's not going to hit S. The tanks up there, I think, a bit better or a fair bit better than him. But man, he can crash on divers. His in and out escapability, but also just what he can just brutalize on enemy teams. And the guy he could cause absolute hell across the board, man. I love Hulk. I think he's at a very good place right now. They've kind of tweaked his gamma shields and a couple of things with his kit to finally have him in a great place. If you're looking to like just perfect a hero and you want to go for someone with a very high skill ceiling, definitely going to be Hulk. I feel bad for putting him so low in low elo, but also I don't. And that's mainly because who's at the top of the board down there? Like, just simple healing with Cloak and Dagger and the auto healing. It can heal his damage and his overall output for the team. Not to mention, you're wasting another Vanguard slot. Sometimes you don't even get two. You get one, and if that's Hulk, you're screwed, right? So I feel bad, but don't. All right, guys, looking at Cloak and Dagger, you know, I kind of always called them the most disrespected strategists in the game. And you guys know my stance on them by now if you've been watching these videos. S tier for low elo, gonna remain that just for different reasons. I just touched on this when I talked about the best heroes, I think, to main this season, if you guys haven't seen that video. But Cloak and Dagger in low elo, you've got the auto aim, you've got the bubble of immortality, right? A good escape. And then also Cloak can put out pretty respectable damage even without coordination. The ultimate is just a purple brick road for your duelist to kind of ride to the point, and it keeps the team together. You kind of have to do that in low elo. You got to rally the troops because they're always going all over the place. And then in high elo, the Terror Cape, that damage multiplier and how fast they can charge their ultimate is what makes them stand out. When you often saw Loki and Luna ban, Cloak was saved because they needed someone to anchor down the team with healing, and Dagger can do all the healing in the world, right? So A tier for high elo, S tier for low. The Surgeon, Doctor Strange, where do we've got him this season? You know, I feel like he's still floating in A tier for both. You know, for a couple of reasons. He's just almost never going to dip below this. A little bit there in the patch where they really nuked his damage, but his survivability is awesome. He has good team up in low elo. High elo, the portal, you can never discount what that can do in terms of making losable games winnable. And then his ultimate that can just set up so many team fights, the shield for the coverage. you know, yeah, you've got to deal with the Thing, who's a lot better now and can really challenge these shield tanks. And then Wolverine is just a POS. But, you know, they fixed that a little bit. He's banned all the time anyway. If you look at what Strange offers to the game, I feel like A tier for both makes a lot of sense. All right, Mother. We've got Emma Frost, who... dude, it's going to take a couple of seasons of nerfs to make her even remotely bad. Even close to getting towards the conversation of bad. Just like Doctor Strange is A tier for both, I've got her an S tier for both. And for different reasons, kind of like Cloak and Dagger. But, you know, yeah, she has a skill ceiling in terms of what you can do on the hero. But she's just dead easy to play at low elo as well. And your team is at a disadvantage if no one's locking Emma. She does that much in terms of just countering dive, her pressure, her damage, herself, her survivability, her skins. She's got everything you could want when playing this game, especially at Vanguard and at a top level. Pro play, low play, doesn't matter. She's S tier for both. Overall, she's the best Vanguard in the game, and she's equipped with one of the best team-ups for the other best heroes. So she's got everything going for her. All right, next up we go to Groot, and this one was kind of tough. You know, I think he still deserves to stay in that S tier kind of category for high elo, albeit I see him a bit separated from the other two that are in this rank. In S tier for Vanguards, but he's still just one of those heroes that a good Groot can push the team such a far way with those walls and the strategy and the ultimate that comes equipped with him, the damage output. They've done some nerfs to him, but it hasn't really made a big difference. Wolverine is auto banned, so your biggest weakness is kind of out of the gate anyway. And what's made him great in past seasons is still making him great in this season in high elo. Now, low elo, I've got him down to C tier. All those things that make him great is kind of a liability in terms of low elo. Again, you don't have a lot of Vanguard picks, and so it's just, if that's your Vanguard in low elo, and it's not somebody smurfing or I don't know, haven't played in a while, you're probably screwed, man. Like, for whatever reason, I've seen low elo players time to time. They like to ban Groot, and I don't know why. Love the tree, but yeah, definitely not my pick in low elo. Next up, guys, we've got Hawkeye, and you know, the guy just doesn't seem to miss. I feel like Hawkeye's one of those heroes. I always have the bad Hawkeye on my team. The other people have the good one. You know, I've seen people carry him at the craziest level, and if you have godlike aim, go at it. You're gonna just carry for the team. But for the most part, I feel like he's held in check. You know, he can be countered at some points. I think he's going to be a solid A tier for high elo because of what he can do in terms of the hero and the kit. Do I think everybody plays him at an A tier level? No, but definitely deserves to be there. And in low elo, I've got him at C tier. You know, he's very dependent on aim, and that's just, you know, it's hard to come by in low elo. So I feel like he's just not exactly offering the team what you could be getting out of some of the other duelists in the game. If you're one of those guys, like, I don't know about you, but back in the day, like any game, like, what was that game? Gauntlet, I think? Oh man, that was a good one. I always had to play the bow guy, so like I was going to be a Hawkeye main coming into this game, but over time, there's just other heroes I've kind of drawn to. All right, guys, Hela, Goddess of Death. She's like one of the main features of this season in the trailer and all with Noel and friends. No surprise here, right? S tier, high elo, one of the best duelists in the game. And I just, man, at this point, I want them to mix it up. You know, I'm not only looking towards the top end of competitive, because I think, funny enough, there's way more casuals than anything else. And then you got to look at the higher ranks and competitive ladder. But I feel like I don't want her to go from like an S tier hero down to like a C tier. They can't strip her of her kit. But I do feel like she's been good for so long and kind of always like Magneto, like just ignores the balance patch and always gets something. I don't know. Obviously, she's S tier. She's one of the best in the game. And now with Punisher getting some nerfs, you know, she's going to be kind of in that hit scan main spot to deal with the flyers and all the other stuff out there. In low elo, I've got her in A tier. Yeah, she's aim dependent, but she's still just that good and what she can offer the team. And so, no surprise, guys. Like, very good hero. You know, she's got the stun. She's got good mobility, punishing damage, you name it. All right, Human Torch was a tricky one. All right, so, you know, I think when we talked as casters in Ignite, one of the things that we highlighted and brought to everybody's attention is the one hero that made the biggest difference across Ignite by a landslide, and the pun intended in there with Ignite, is Human Torch. Human Torch was the most important hero on every single team. The team with the better player on Torch would win the games. The team that banned Torch would win the games. And then they kind of toned him down, but not really, kind of a wash with the team up and the bonus he got with Spider-Man. Human Torch is still him. He's still incredibly hard to land hits on, extremely mobile. His pressure that he brings as a whole, I think, is the best part of his kit in general. His ultimate charge is fast. Feels like those tornadoes are always putting people out of place and consistent damage on those objectives. And then he's able to just get incredible poke damage, good even headshots for raining down from up above, closing in teams with his firewalls. I love Johnny Storm. I do think his skill ceiling is very high, and I've got him in A tier for low elo because of that. If flyers in general, they feast because people don't look up, but they also can suffer because you know who else doesn't look up? Our strategists at times, right? So if you don't have like a cloak player as a flyer, it can be pretty tough. And so I do have him in A tier for that. Very good duelist. Next up, guys, we have an Invisible Woman, and I'm pretty sure for high elo, it's the first time I'm ever D-ranking her. And it's not because she's bad, but it's because of how crazy busted the ones above her are. And I've got Invisible Woman in A tier for both high and low elo. You know, her ult is just incredible, the way that she's able to have good team coordination. Kind of the thing I talked about with Cloak and Dagger. In low elo, everybody's going to stay in the circle of protection, right? But also that skill ceiling just going up and up with her shield protection and being able to carry, you know, your Hela, let's say, and keep them just always safe, throwing thorns and no one can deal with them. I think Invisible Woman has so much to offer in her kit and what she can do for a team. Very much like a carry hero for different reasons than someone like Luna with her push-pull and overall identity in Rivals. Love her. She's A tier for both, and arguably kind of B tier in low elo just because it can be challenging to get the most out of her, but I'm going to have her in A. Next up, guys, we move to Iron Fist, and oh man, we start getting down there here. Iron Fist is, you know, he's just a hero that I just don't know if they know what they want to do with him. You know, you've got everybody using these superpowers, then you got Iron Fist out there using his, you know, his fist, right? And it's tricky because of that. And the way that his kit works and gels together, they can't tweak him too good to be good against squishies or vanguards. It seems like they don't want either. And he's just in an awkward place in the game. We saw what it looked like when he was too good. They nerfed that pretty fast. I've got him in C tier for low elo because he's pretty easy to play. He's not too hard to get down once you get some of his movement down. And not only that, he's harder to deal with at low elo. In high elo, unfortunately, I've got him in D tier. It's just, he can't even, the strategist and like what you want to do as this role of like, you know, getting rid of that back line. There's so many better options than him. And then versus vanguards, it's like, Emma thing, they're just really, you know, giving you hell. I've seen some of the better players in the game switch to him if needed in very tight situations. Like I think one team banned every hero against Terra, who I think is the best duelist in America, and they banned like 6 heroes, and then he went to Iron Fist and still won. Now that's because he's him, but also, you know, he does have his uses. He could be good against flyers in some situations, but now we have Phoenix, and that's just another option to use over him. And so yeah, D tier for high, C tier for low. All right, guys, Tony Stark. I'm going to be honest. All right, I'm going to come clean about something. I love this format. I love doing low and high elo. I'm going to have to make these portraits smaller or something because there's already a lot of heroes in high elo once this thing's finished up in the A tier. But I couldn't even fit them in there if I wanted to. I think Iron Man is borderline A tier in high elo. I think he does deserve to be in there. I could barely fit him. We have to figure something out when we get more heroes. But overall, I think B tier is still a good spot for him. And that's going to be in high elo. I'll get to why in a second. And then he's S tier, I still think, for low elo. Just like I said before, yeah, people aren't looking up your healers and, you know, whatever. But his just constant poke damage goes so much further, and AoE damage and an ult like his that have, you know, such a huge gap of getting team wipes or not. You can just, no matter what, if you're at low elo, you're able to pull it off so much more. And so I've seen Iron Man just continue to conquer games. You know, Ultron definitely helps his case there. And then in high elo, we saw, you know, Sentinels just pop off and go absolutely wild, you know, with Iron Man. Amazing, just showcased why he's him, right? Did take some nerfs overall. Ultron and friends did too. And then you've got Phoenix coming out. So flyers are a bit down. The things, you know, going towards it. You've got all that happening, but I still think he's a very strong one. That's why I've got him at the edge of B here. Going into A, there are things I don't like about Iron Man at high elo play, but he's still able to get the job done. Like maybe I could put him down in low elo, but I'm telling you guys, if you're like an Iron Man and you're playing on that Wakanda map with a point and you're pushing it and the team's on it and you're just shooting down at the point, there's so much damage happening. And the strategists, you know, they're not always locked in. The vanguards are pushing back. They're not pushing forward. You can just like carry very well. And then, you know, if you've got Luna doing a show, the ultimate, one of the few in the game that can completely team wipe. And that shuts down not only, you know, supports, but it also shuts down a lot of the great heroes that are virtually unkillable at times in low elo. And so Iron Man goes up massively because of that. All right, next up, we move to Jeff, who's kind of finally found that resting spot after all the changes that came to him. And I think B tier for low elo and C tier for high elo is where I'm going to land. C tier for high elo could be a little bit high, but also, you know, you do see case scenarios. The Jeff NATO, that's still a big thing, especially in low elo. It's still not completely figured out. And even if it is, people just don't know what to do around it. His ultimate's going to get more use out of there and just the consistent damage he can do with the healing from it. And so I think he's still a great option in low elo. And then in high elo, I do have him, I believe, as the lowest ranked strategist. So he's probably my least favorite out of the bunch, but still an option. All right, guys, we're going to go on to Loki and Luna, but wanted to quickly shout out a couple things. If you guys don't know, I've opened up memberships here on YouTube for a number of different reasons, trying to do some really big projects. And so if you guys have appreciated the content and want to support, like this video was made available early for those to watch that are members, and just means a lot to help support this channel and what we're trying to do here, and trying to hire people maybe for the first time to help with this whole thing, to get more videos. I feel like I don't get enough videos out for you guys, and I definitely want to try to do that. Just a lot of work to get, you know, this kind of stuff done. And so anyway, if you guys want to support, feel free to do that. And with that, guys, going to China again in a couple weeks. Gonna do like a bunch of cool both kind of vlog, documentary / like just behind the scenes fun content while I go over there and check out all of not only China but rivals. And so look out for those, but also San Diego Comic-Con. So if you guys are going there, I'm hosting it. This is just announced here, so I'll be hosting the booth there. If you happen to be in San Diego, say what's up. Trying to put Galacta out of business. Just so cool, man, to be chosen for these things. I remember always being that person that like would look, you know, up to the other creators in the scene that got to do hosting gigs or whatever, and I was like, man, one day I'm gonna work hard enough and maybe get there. Anyway, means a lot, guys. If you want to help support, go ahead and join the memberships down below or subscribe. That's also awesome. That'd be great. We're trying to get up to 150k subs. All right, Luna, Loki, we're gonna talk about at the same time. All right, boom, snap them both. S tier for the high elo, no question about it. Clearly, we know why. We're gonna get to it in a second. Low elo, I've got Luna in A, Loki in B. Loki and Luna, they do have skill to them, and you have to, you know, have that skill to perform at the highest level that you can. And with that in high elo, they're just clearly separated from the rest as the best two healers in the game for just all the reasons. Luna is a duelist, puts out crazy damage, has the stun, has the best ultimate in the game. Loki can charge up, copy that ultimate. Loki can teleport away, he can go invisible, he can throw down crazy damage, he can challenge most heroes one-on-one, even if he's using those abilities selfishly, like his invincible runes. You know, his green circle of protection, as I always say, is a mini ultimate. And so the dude does it all. And I just don't know how you're going to deal with him. You know, low elo, you've got Moon Knight and stuff that kind of reign a bit more free that can counter him, but you don't see that in high elo. And then Luna is just, you know, it's the favorite child. We've talked about this. Favorite child, definitely in that Hela conversation. Would love to see these three get knocked down even a little bit. As I play Luna and Loki, you know, from time to time. Loki for sure. And they just got to go down a bit, man. It just, they feel like they've been at their spot for so long, but also I like their kids. So maybe they don't go down, others go up. They have to figure it out. All right, Magik. Where do we've got Magik? I'm going to put Magik above that Black Panther tier. So C tier, kind of the Iron Fist range. You know, a Magik, even that isn't like crazy skill, can still pop off in low elo. You're not going to hit your dashes as much, but she's so all over the place. And if you can just learn like basic demon management, you're going to be able to pop off, you know, as Magik. So I've got her in C tier for low and then D tier for high. Unfortunately, Magik just isn't quite it in the high elo scene. Like, she doesn't do anything standout or special, and, you know, it's just too niche of a hero. Every now and then, you know, you maybe see her to get out a point if you have to get some quickie limbs or whatever it might be. But yeah, there's just so many better options than her. I feel like they have to add something to her kit to make her stand out amongst the other options. Fear Magneto. Yep. S tier for both. You know, that's not going to be a shock to anybody. We're almost at kind of close to a year of Rivals being out and a year of Magneto just dominating the scene. Great defensively, good offensively, can be an off tank, can be the main tank, has an ult that can carry games individually. His damage is awesome. His 1-2 combo to take care of threats is great. You got it all. You've got it all with the guy, and his, he's simple to use. His survivability is way up there as well. So Magneto, definitely S tier, top of class Vanguard, right up there with Emma. And then if you get the team up with Emma, he's even more crazy to use, and he shuts down a lot of threats. Moving on, we go to Mantis. Now, Mantis got some adjustments in this patch, and did it change her a ton? I'm still going to say she's kind of locked with Adam Warlock and what they do. A little bit more of a main healer. Sometimes you see a great Mantis team up with a very good Ultron or a very good duelist to kind of let them carry more. We've seen that happen, at high level play. I've got her in B tier, which I think is fine for high elo. I think she still can be a good healer and offer some to the team. But in low elo, I've got her at C tier. I think a lot of what makes her great is some of her skill dependency. And even though she does heal more, just better options out there for low elo in general. And you're certainly not going to get a good Adam Warlock unless they're smurfing. So that's kind of why I have that. She could probably go down even more than this. But yeah, C tier for low elo, B tier for high. Mr. Fantastic, the Fanta. He got a nerf out of nowhere this season, and even with the nerf, I still think he's top of class in low elo. He's unkillable. The coordination's not there, or just like the understanding of his, I don't think that's a word. Understanding his kit is non-existent. I can't tell you how many times I've seen Fantastic, or just if I feel like I'm pissed off enough, I go and play him. It's not often, but it happens. He's just dominant in low elo. He's S tier, and then he's quite literally the opposite end of the spectrum in high elo. He's F tier. S tier, F tier, crazy difference here. But that's what you get when you look at high level play in a hero that once you figured him out, he's super simple to deal with. But for whatever reason, he's unkillable in the low ranks, and it shows it in his win rate. It shows it all together. Shows it why they nerfed him. He was very good. And so on top of that, you have Invisible Woman. You can use that team up. And he's kind of that pseudo tank. So if you have one tank and a Mr. Fantastic, it actually works in low elo. It doesn't in high. All right, guys. The moon haunts you. Khonshu, Moon Knight. Where do we've got him? Here I play a lot. One of the many lords I've got in the game. I love Moon Knight. All right. Moon Knight is all about dealing with him. And if you can deal with him, you can get rid of him for the most part. You can hunt him down right before he haunts you. Because of that, he's going to be C tier in high elo. I've got him higher than most people. I think people disrespect him. We see him in the top end play to deal with triple Vanguard comps and teams trying to spawn push you. But we also have seen him outside of that. I think he does offer a bunch of burst damage and can help teams a lot. In low elo, I think he's S tier. Honestly, I think he is everything that's great about low elo. People just, they have one thing constantly, killing their team, and nobody thinks, hey, it's probably the Moon Knight, we should deal with them. And so you can just farm free damage and free elo for the most part. I think Moon Knight is just often slept on in low elo for that. You see some of your favorite people say he's bad, and so you don't play him. Go off. He's too much fun. People are grouped up together. They don't know what to do, and you can just kind of go crazy on him. And the ult feasts way more at low elo than high elo. Cloaks all over the place. You've got the team up. Can't say enough good things about him. All right, Namor. Now, Namor, funny enough, I'm meeting his voice actor at Comic-Con. I'm going to have to get him to say some voice lines for the channel. But either way, Namor. I've got him in S tier for high elo, and I've got him in A tier for low elo. Arguably could go up there with the team up. They fixed his Triton speed. Not fix it. They made his Triton speed better for no reason. His damage is better. He's got the turrets. Hulk is great in high elo, so you've got even more with the Gamma turret. His whale is awesome. You can combine that with Luna for good damage burst. He's got survivability with the blessings of the deep. He's got the full kit. I think Namor is just oftentimes a very good hero. I'd like him a bit more in domination than anywhere else, but still gets the job done. Low elo, you got things that aim for you, and the whale is going to get more value. He's just dead easy to play across the board. You could do like a flanking Namor and no one knows what to do about it, so that's where I like him. Peni Parker, the only hero in the game where you actively don't want to use her ultimate for the most part. I'm pretty sure like one of the best ones in the world don't even use her ultimate. They just continue to ignore it, which cracks me up. Peni Parker is kind of like Mr. Fantastic, but less of an exaggeration. I've got her in S tier for low elo. All the reasons people don't know how to get rid of the nest. They go right into it. You can shut down multiple paths, and so they don't know where to go. They've got the one-track brain a bit. The coordination's not there to deal with a good Peni. And you've got like CC, whatever, to deal with dive. So S tier, one of the best. It's seen in the win rates. It's seen in just regular play. She's often banned in low elo. High elo, I've got her in C tier. I think people have her even lower than that at times. I think that's crazy. With like, I don't know, the Hulk and all that, like one of the best counters, just continue just to put out the CC with those webs. And, you know, with the Rocket team up, even more craziness happens. I think Peni is still plenty viable on certain points, especially defense, and oftentimes laughed at too much. So again, C tier for high elo and S tier for low. Okay, so Jean Grey, I finally played just a bucket amount of time on this hero. And I've got to say, I feel like this might be high going in, but I've got her as one of the best in the game. I've got her in S tier for high elo, and I've got her in A tier for low. Kind of the same reasons as Hela. I think she's probably better. Actually, I think she's better than Hela in low elo for sure, just because of her mechanics and how it works. But you've got so much mobility. The ult is easy to deal with, so you don't have to worry about that. It kind of completely, you know, crushes Rocket in high elo. But you're trading some stuff with Hela to get more opportunity, and I love everything about her. The team-up's obviously pretty stupid with Wolverine, but as a hero, Jean Grey offers so much. I think she's going to be around the meta for a while unless they do something, you know, drastic to her. Very good. Just kind of like combines some of the play of like Moon Knight with like Hela. I love everything about the way she plays. All right, we've got the Purple Demon. Psylocke, where do we've got her? I think Psylocke is arguably the most carry potential hero in the game at high elo. Most likely. We saw the best players in the world just pop off on what she can do. Her combos are so fast that if you are skilled enough, you can quite literally destroy people before they've registered a thought. Kind of like Black Panther, but even more reliable. You know, they nerfed her invisibility massively by like 33%. Doesn't matter. She still is able to kind of go around the map, do what she needs to do. She can be with the team and burst down tanks. She can go on her own and burst down backline. Her ult is able to bait out strategist ultimates or just get that crucial pick. The sphere and what she can get different eliminations is wild. Her dash is great for escape, but also approach. Love her. S tier. I've got her in B tier for low elo. You've got to nail those combos. You've got to nail when to be with the team, when not to be with the team, all of it. And because of that, she's just not as skilled, and you got to put in the time. But practice her in low elo so you can play her in high elo. Love Psylocke. Okay, Rocket Raccoon. Poor Jean Grey just completely took a dump on this guy. Rocket in high elo is going down to B tier mainly because of the presence of Phoenix and kind of what she's done. I think Rocket players have had their time in the sun, and high elo is kind of going down a bit. We're not seeing them as much. You could arguably even drop him lower. Probably low in a B tier, sadly. Still good. Can do his thing, but just not near as good with Jean Grey. Low elo, still S tier. You know, Jean Grey's exists, but it just doesn't matter. His healing output and what he can do in low elo is just very easy brain off mentality, and can just consistently keep the team up. And the res beacon is still cracked, and there's reasons to play him in both, but definitely shines in low elo. Wanda, Scarlet Witch. Where do I've got? You know, this is tough. I think this is going to be the exact same thing. Oh man, I don't know what to do. This is probably the same as Mr. Fantastic, because hear me out. So I've got her in S tier for low elo. The team up with Doctor Strange. It's free elo if you just play with Doctor Strange and you have like basic understanding of the game. Crazy damage output. The ult, all of it. It sings, it harmonizes in low elo. I've done it now multiple seasons just for fun with friends, whatever it might be. Crazy potential on her. In high elo, I'm judging where to put her. I'm gonna go D tier with like borderline F, almost F tier, like right there. It's just everything that makes her great goes away in high elo, unfortunately. I think in like Diamond and Celestial, you can still get away with her. You know, I think Celestial even. But once you start to creep up even higher than that, that's where you start to suffer with Scarlet. But beyond that, go crazy. Like, you know, this is low and high elo, but I would say like top of Grandmaster, Celestial, and down, she's awesome. Which luckily, that's like the majority of the player base. So I think for all intents and purposes, Scarlet Witch is a good hero. Spider-Man, where do we've got him? I'm going to put him right there with Black Panther in D tier for low elo, and I've got him in C tier for high. Arguably could go up, maybe B tier. This is one that I kind of popped in and out. Didn't know exactly where to land on him. Finally, I feel like the skill, you know, the crazy skill can go off on him, and there are people that definitely make him look way, way better than maybe he is. In low elo, kind of like Black Panther, just the skill gap, it's just all not there unless you're smurfing. If you smurf, he's top of S tier, no question. However, in high elo, yeah, man, even with the new team up, I'm not wild about it. I just think there's better options, and I haven't had like a Spider-Man in my high elo games truly carry outside of a couple people I've ran into. So it's just, you know, the damage, the ult, some of the stuff, the nerfs are a little bit there. Like, I think they have them exactly where they want them. and I don't know if we get a ton of changes on him. That being said, as always in the comment section, I always get the one guy. You can be cracked on this guy. No question about it. He is absolutely crazy in the right hands. Okay, guys, the Squirrel. There's a lot more people playing her because of that skin. All right, let's be honest. However, order I've got her. I'm going to go A tier for high elo. I think I had her in there last season. We're going to stick with the same thing because just the incredible poke damage and pressure you can do with her. She's way harder to deal with if you don't have good coordination. You can burst through like the one tank they have on the other side. Like she's much more, she excels way more at what she does great in low elo. And then in high elo, we're going to go with D tier probably. Kind of that niche factor. She has her purpose, but other than that, kind of goes down. You could argue C tier, but I think she's probably a notch below the ones that I've gotten C, in my humble opinion. But either way, she does have those specific situations that she can, kind of start popping off a little bit. But for the most part, I'm not crazy about her in high elo. Okay, so Peter Quill, Chris Pratt, Star-Lord. What do we got him? This guy always seems like he's getting buffed in like a random patch. I feel like I've got him in B tier for low, A tier for high. I've got him in B tier for low because his carry potential goes down because it is skill dependent. In high elo, I think he's borderline S tier. I think he has everything you need as a hero to get the job done. His ult's obviously crazy and his pressure's good and his barraging is insane. And now his range is strong. We see people play Star-Lord even without the triple res. And so with the triple res, he's extra cracked. But yeah, I think he's a notch below the ones I do have an S, but he's right there with them. Strong hero, love Star-Lord. I think he's continued to be very dominant in the game. Now, Storm is a tricky one, okay? This is one that I've got higher in low elo. I think I've got her in A tier for low for Jeff Nato and her entire kit. And then I've got her in B tier, going all the way down to B tier in high elo. She went from like a Cat 5 to a Cat 3. You got Phoenix handling, more hit scan out there. And then also, like, people just aren't playing her. I don't know why. I haven't seen a lot of Storm this season. They're just electing to play other heroes, and that's across the board. I feel like, I don't know. It's not that she doesn't have an identity, but she's lacking it a bit. And then Jeff Nato is, I almost want Storm to be like, kind of like Mr. Fantastic, where she's truly like half strategist, half duelist. Maybe ramp down the damage, but up the other stuff. I don't know what to do with her. And then Jeff Nato, people have figured this out in high elo a lot more, so you can definitely deal with it and have a bit more options to take care of the team wipe. The Punisher, Frank Castle, still S tier, definitely still S tier in low elo. Just constant bullets and barraging and annoyance, and just a very good hero, man. He's just constantly pumping out the, kind of like Squirrel, how she could put so much pressure on that front line of Vanguards, that low elo play. Same thing, his ultimate gets way more value, everything down there. And then I'm going to have him in A tier for high elo. I think he's right there again. Hela and Phoenix kind of edge him out in that hit scan regard, but still very good. They did nerf him. He did take some hits, and it did affect him. But overall, Frank Castle can still do what he does very well, and I like the place he's at. And then we've got the Thing, who's pretty much a brand new hero this season with his battle blitz and going and taking care of flyers and having that aggression, being good against double shields, and just always, man, I love the Thing this season. Last season, he just didn't have an identity, and it's crazy how one ability can take him from one of the worst heroes up to very respectable. I've got him in A tier, solid A tier at that. I love him this season, man. I hope they do this to more Vanguards that can handle flyers and whatnot, but just like everything. He can help with divers. He can help, peel back and go to your strategist and help with the team. He can be aggressive. He can be that kind of main threat on a point. Love him. He's not quite as good as like maybe Magneto and Emma, but he's up there. So we're going to go with A tier for both, especially because now in low elo with that aggression and pullback, you're able to do that kind of game flow and song and dance a bit better and keep him up more and get the most out of him. Just those haymakers constantly, man. Like the best thing about in low elo is the flyers, it's tough to shoot up there and have the aim sometimes, I see you guys, the casuals, but when you just can jump and, throw a haymaker, quite literally, an uppercut on Iron Man, it's much easier to take care of him. Thor, son of Odinson. What I got, you guy? Man, makes me sad to see Thor where he's at. You know what I mean? Like, if I've never played Rivals and I see Thor, I'm like, what a badass. And then you play him. But honestly, for casuals, I think for the most part, for casuals, he's A tier. I think he's very good. And, like, that's kind of his identity. I think he's solid for low-level play, A tier, and then he's F tier for high. Unfortunately, nobody's playing him. Like, even with the Awakened, like, they've done so much with them. No, I just don't see him ever. I never see him in high level play. In low level though, you see him a lot. So that's kind of like what makes up the difference. Kind of like the Mr. Fantastic, the Wanda, but in a lesser so fact. But yeah, I like Thor in low. If you're playing him in like Grandmaster and below, you're going to get the value. We move on to Symbiote season and Venom, and I wish he was better in his own season, but I've got him in B tier for both. I think that, quite honestly, Captain America is just a better option most of the time. And I liked him and Spider because they had like their team up, and it made him have more of an identity as well. But he can do what he does well. His slow is impactful. You know, Venom one tricks, you guys go off Kings, but for the most part, I think he's kind of mid-line for what he offers in terms of Vanguard. I like him probably, he's close to C tier and low elo, I'm going to be honest, just because of how dive works in there and coordination and whatnot, but he can be a great distraction and harder to take down, so I've got him in B tier because of that. Winter Soldier, man, the carry king. This guy, if you piss off one of the best players enough, they go to Bucky and they try to win the game. They've perfected the cooldown on his claw and the ability to pull and displace, and I love what they've done there. And then the Kraken Impact and the ult and what he can do with the pistol and the extra reset, like all of that is obviously very good. His place is firmly elite and high level play. A tier for high elo, low elo, all those things, kind of like Star-Lord, exact same situation. I've got him in B tier because you need that skill to be that carry for your team, and that snowball turning into an avalanche that he does well isn't as prevalent in low elo. Wolverine, the only reason I've got him in A tier for low elo, to be honest, is just like the lack of double vanguards and getting like the most out of them, probably. But then it's like so firmly S tier, right? Even with the nerfs, firmly S tier. Ban the guy, so good. I feel for Wolverine players. You guys are kind of like the Hulk. You just never get to play your hero. He does everything well. You know, he's the tank shredder, and just point blank, his ult can carry. Every part of his kit's good. The team up's hilarious. The life steal, I can keep going on. You guys don't need me to. S tier, A tier. And then we end on Ultron, who I had a tough time placing. I think with Jean coming to the game and the nerfs that he did take, I like him a lot. You do have to kind of form your comp around him. And so at high level play, I still think he's one of the best strategists in the game. But I'm going to have him in B tier kind of for both. I think that's where he mainly belongs, top of B tier, if that does help at all. He's just, again, when you look at all the strategists, not the one that I would lean to. There are comps that he plays well with, and obviously, you know, the season of the Flyers have tamed down just a bit, but still very good. I think Ultron could be arguably A in most situations. So there you guys have it. That's all the heroes within the game. High elo to low elo. We've got a fast turnaround to season 3.5 with Blade arriving, and I'm sure from what I'm here cooking up, there's going to be a lot of changes behind the scenes. So I'm excited to see what is to come. Again, if you guys haven't already, subscribe down below. Be sure to comment, how could you put my main X hero where you did? They should be in S tier, or maybe leave something nice. And as always, guys, join the membership if you want to support me as a creator and get access to these videos early and a bunch of other good perks. And as always, guys, good luck out there until the next one. Happy rivaling.